All right, welcome to the show. Very excited to have her here, a fellow Texan, a lawyer, a candidate for Texas Railroad Commissioner who is making waves pretty much all over the country, not just in Texas. The unicorn ushering in the next era of Texas energy independence, Republican candidate for Railroad Commission 2022, and Lady Godiva of the oil patch, Sarah Stogner. How are you?
I'm doing so good. How about you?
Great. Thank you so much for being with us.
Worse now because the Texans here are West and I don't have quite those accolades in Texas. So I'm
you're not a lawyer.
Yeah, not a lawyer.
Not really doing much.
You're not the Lady Godiva of the oil patch.
No.
It's never too late.
How did you get that nickname?
Yeah, why they call you that, Sarah?
Yeah, that's it. And the unicorn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so which one do you want first? You want to start this? The unicorn's much older. So
okay.
Yeah, how that actually started was, I don't know if you guys remember, but about 8 or 9 years ago, there was a YouTube video that came out where the guy talks about the hot, crazy matrix. And he's like, if she's like a 2 crazy and an 8 or a 9 hot.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I was like, I'm a unicorn. And kind of in a very, that sounds kind of cocky, but I said, yeah. So I told my husband, I was like, what's it like to be married to a unicorn? And he's like, I don't know. I'll let you know with my third wife. So, but
wow, nice.
But no. And then it really just turned into, unicorns are magical. And I'm tired of people telling me that things are impossible. Nothing's impossible if you really put your mind to it. And so this entire journey from the past few years when I've been frustrated with risk allocation and insurance coverage / legal issues where people are like, oh, well, this is industry standard. This is the way we've always done it. I thought, well, that's silly. I can be an oil and gas unicorn. Like we can do things differently. We can do them better. And so that's that part. And then, so the Lady Godiva is, yes, baby. Sorry. My kid's like, and then, for Lady Godiva, so we were filming a documentary a few months ago, and when the film crew was out there, one of them said, hey, I've always wanted to photograph somebody on top of a pump jack. And I was like, oh, well, why don't I do it? And why don't I do it naked? Because that'll be fun.
Oh, that's the photo, right? The infamous photo. Yeah. Well, we have the ad right here. I'll play it for you. I didn't want to get into it quite so quick, but let's just jump in. Here we go. Okay. Ready? Well, let's do it.
With Stogner, please vote early starting tomorrow.
There you go. And
nice.
Here's a little still image of the shoot.
So I did the same pose when I was running for HOA vice president, and it didn't work out for me.
They were like, "You're not a homeowner. What are you doing?"
Well, that's the problem, Pat. They told me I was disqualified because I rent. So it's really a waste all around.
Yeah. So, Sarah, I did a little homework. I know that you are far more than like a pretty face and a half naked woman riding an oil jack with, stars covering her.
Good ad, though.
Yeah, great ad. I mean, the ad was perfect. It made you go viral. It's what caught our attention, obviously. But why don't you tell, all these like sexist men and hater women out there listening exactly, why a railroad commissioner is important in today's Texas and why you are the perfect person for that job. What does a railroad commissioner do?
Yeah, I was going to say, first off, like they have nothing to do with railroads anymore, right? They haven't had any jurisdiction over railroads since 2005. They regulate oil and gas exploration and production in the state of Texas. They regulate intrastate pipelines, and they regulate surface mining for things like coal, lignite, uranium. So if it's related to energy other than nuclear, wind, and solar, it's pretty much under the Railroad Commission's exclusive jurisdiction. And so I'm an oil and gas lawyer. I've been practicing oil and gas law for 14 years. I have a strong operational background. I am one of those lawyers that when something really bad happens, you pick up the phone and call me. It's why I got my pilot's license couple of years ago, because I wanted to be able to be there. You always, when you're representing the operator, you want to make sure you're there before the press, before the regulators. You want to be there firsthand. You want to tell everyone to sit down, shut up, give me your phones, and this stays confidential, right? And
you're like the opposite of Brockovich, kind of like.
Yeah, well, I was. Right? I was. And then I moved out onto this West Texas cattle ranch last year, and we had a blowout. And Chevron was the operator that had plugged that well. And I thought, oh, good, Chevron's a great entity. They'll come in, they'll do the right thing. And instead, they went to the Railroad Commission, who then lawyered up against the landowner, so that in the state of Texas, if you're a criminal, the state lawyers up against you, or if you're a landowner complaining about oil and gas operations, they lawyer up against you.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember the real estate taxes in Texas. That makes sense. That tracks.
So why is it that the Railroad Commission has no jurisdiction over the more efficient energy sources, but just the fossil fuels and stuff? Does it I'm curious why green energy or nuclear? I know no one's using nuclear power because they're afraid of it. They shouldn't be. But why is it just the fossil stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the way that it's been set up. There is no real regulatory oversight in Texas of the windmill and the energy from a exploration and production standpoint. It's a matter of private contract. I mean, you're not digging, right? You're not drilling down into the ground. Yeah, you're putting in huge concrete pilings for the bases of the windmills.
What are you gonna ask God, can I borrow your wind? You know, what's he going to say?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
That's what he says. Nothing when you ask him stuff. Well, what happened with this Rick Perry thing, Mark? Mark on our show, he was without power for like what was it? What
Rick
was it
Perry.
like?
You mean
I'm
Greg
sorry,
Abbott?
the guy after Rick Perry. But I'm thinking energy.
What do you,
Abbott. No, he essentially, it came out recently that he jacked the power prices to max capacity.
Let's talk about how your role would fall into like a freeze in Texas again. Like I'm sure, did you lose power for that? I heard that this past year, potentially that the gas, which I have in my house, gas, was mad because maybe Texas didn't pay all their bills or something, so they were throttling. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, so the freeze had so many issues, right? And you've got different agencies that are in charge of different things. So the Railroad Commission is in charge of making sure that the wells are operating, the natural gas wells, and that the pipelines that carry the gas to the midstream facilities where they have gas compressor stations, et cetera. And then ultimately until it gets to its destination at a power plant, and then it's outside of the jurisdiction. And so what happened was you didn't have that critical infrastructure designated as critical infrastructure, so that once they started with the rolling blackouts, you had oil and gas wells, oil and gas facilities that they shut off the power to because they weren't designated as critical. And then they couldn't operate to produce natural gas. So then the facility, the power plants, it was just a domino effect. And unfortunately, you also have ERCOT and the Public Utility Commission that have jurisdiction over the lines and other parts of that aspect. And so no one entity was solely to blame, but I think it's really telling that Christy Craddock didn't understand that she had jurisdiction over the pipeline process when she was testifying. Like, guys, you need to understand this and what you could have done. And so what we have to do to make sure that doesn't happen again is make sure that stuff's winterized and that we don't grant exceptions, and that things that are critical infrastructure are designated as such and protected, and that we can get the power. And then as far as the pricing, that's a matter of, because Texas doesn't incentivize reliability. And so I don't have jurisdiction, but I think we should be looking at policies where if you are any sort of electricity provider and you are supposed to provide so many megawatts or gigawatts or whatever it is of power, and you don't provide that because the wind doesn't blow, the sun doesn't shine, or your pipelines don't operate for whatever reason, then you're penalized. And not that the consumers are paying more because you were hoping and gambling that there'd be a peak in demand to send prices through the roof, because right now you're only incentivizing based on supply and demand.
That makes sense. Would you work in this role? Like, would you coordinate? Would you talk with people at ERCOT, with people at water suppliers for the city, like the city of Austin's water supplier, something like that? Because I remember when it happened a couple of years ago, ERCOT was just shutting down zip codes and they weren't communicating with the water plant. And then the water plant went down and we're out of water for a week. And it's like, why aren't these people talking? I know they're separate entities, but why isn't there communication from the leadership of ERCOT to Austin Water to the Railroad Commission?
Yeah, great question, because our elected officials suck.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so this incumbent, Wayne Christian, he's part of those sucky current elected officials. That's who you're in the runoff with, okay? So what are you going to do? What is the Stogner difference that's gonna make people forget all about Wayne Christian?
Yeah,
that's a tough name to run against too in Texas, right? It's like Wayne Christian.
Jesus Christian.
Right, the only Christian on the ballot, the only Christian in the house. Like,
Jesus,
it's so annoying.
Look at this guy's. Look at his Twitter. It's ChristianForTexas.com.
That's
I mean,
cheap.
Christian.
how are you going to run against that? He's like,
well, he didn't get 50% of the votes, so that's why he's in a runoff.
With a
so
smile like that, you can tell he's murdered.
Oh,
allegedly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the only. He doesn't have any credentials. He's a career politician. He has no oil and gas experience, and so I kill him in the credential area. Where I don't have him is he's got a lot of money and he's got a lot of political clout, and he's been bought and paid for by the lobbyists in the industry, some of them, and so he's got a big, a big following, and I'm just hopeful that I'm going to continue to get press and media, and that I'm going to continue to be transparent, and that people will listen.
So what are you saying to like the average Texan? Wayne Christian, he's bought and paid for by the lobbyists. We know that. But what is Sarah Stogner going to do different than Wayne Christian that's going to benefit the average Texan as railroad commissioner?
Well, one, I'm not taking any campaign contributions, so I don't own any favors, right? No one can come in. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I've spent less than $1,000 on the campaign.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
So, other than my time, right? My mileage and stuff like that.
And the $50 you gave us, right? I'm just
yeah. No. So that's the first thing. And then two is I'm transparent, right? Like I'm out there. My life is out there on social media.
You're nude on an oil derrick.
But above and beyond that, right? Like that was supposed to be a metaphor for the naked truth, right? Like I've got nothing to hide. You want to come after me, like fine, let's talk about my physical characteristics, and like that's what they're going to critique, right? Because I'm a woman. So I'm hopeful that now that I've got everyone's attention, and I think that he's going to continue to lie. I tweeted earlier, I had found an interview. Apparently he's got something that works for a radio station and he goes on weekly. And on February 22nd, I believe it was, he flat out lied that the other candidates had avoided our forum in Midland where all of the candidates were supposed to be there on February 17th. And we had moved it for that date so that he could attend, even though it was after early voting started. And then he canceled at the last minute and went, I think, to Conroe. And then he gets on the radio and says that we're the ones that lied and didn't want him at the forum. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Sleazy politician bullshit. Yeah.
Knowing nothing about him but his pictures and like hearing this, he reminds me of Will Ferrell from the
campaign.
The campaign. He looks like.
Let me introduce you to him, Mark.
Has he sent you dick pics yet? Like he seems like the type of guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's gonna hit on you, and he's like, if I beat you, I'm still gonna give you a job. You know what I mean? Like that type of guy.
It's the accidental dick pic. It gets sent.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to send that to you.
Yeah.
I did again.
Whoops. Unless
has he harassed you yet?
Well, let me play you guys a documentary of this guy that I found. Let's meet Wayne Christian. Okay, let's see what he's all about.
I don't want to.
Politician, financial advisor, singer, and community servant. This is the story of Wayne Christian. From his beginnings as a gospel singer to Texas Railroad Commissioner.
Well, I think Shelby County, I was born, bred, raised, and stayed in Shelby County, so I'm very proud of that. Born in Tennehaw, mom and dad were hardworking folks. Mom worked over at Center Plywood. Dad worked at the post office. And
check that.
Growing up in Deep East Texas, in that time in Tennehaw, the center of the community was the church. And we'd go Wednesday night to church. You'd go every Sunday to church. We'd have our any meetings or fellowships or anything that we did, it'd be at church. Summer was going to church camps, and so
likes Disney.
So he's really into church.
He doesn't
much
like
about
Minnie
railroads
Mouse.
there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So has this guy, this Christian guy, I found an article. He's in some trouble for some corruption, right? He maybe took a little bit of campaign contribution because he maybe signed off on a little like oil field waste dump that maybe he wasn't recommended to do. And people are calling him corrupt. Like this guy that wrote about him said that he demonstrated what is best, a profound disregard for ethics, and at worst, he's engaged in public corruption. So is he talking any crap about the ad that you put out? Is he taking the high Christian road, or is he talking smack? And what are we going to do about Wayne?
Yeah, no, I don't. He hasn't expressly discussed the video that I know of, which we affectionately call Hump Jack. But He did go after today. His campaign guy went after me on Twitter for some things that I've said in the past from my personal account, like, hey, stay out of my uterus. And that I think the NRA has lost their minds and that most Republicans, don't stand, like those of us that actually firmly believe in the Second Amendment, don't follow necessarily what the NRA does anymore. And I think those are just more perfect examples of a party that is failing to listen to most of its constituents, and instead you've got a few people in the Republican Party who've taken these social issues that I firmly believe, most of those things on a fundamental level. I just disagree with how we go about doing it. For example, abortion, right? I am very much pro-life, but I want to help empower women and educate women and give women the resources so that no woman ever has to make that choice. And it's not relevant for this race, right? So yeah, when I'm on Twitter and every time right?
Yeah.
And so, like a guy brags about pro, heartbeat bill. And I'm like, yeah, don't we have bigger things to worry about?
So you're running on credentials and being a lawyer in the industry for 14 years, and he's running on he's holier than you.
He's running on
he's a better Christian than you. And
he's Wayne Christian.
He's running on the culture war.
Well, that's probably going to win, unfortunately, in Texas.
That will. It usually does a lot of times. The fact is that both parties have these like culture war gatekeepers that exist in them. It's the progressive wing on the Democratic Party. It's the Wayne Christian Bible Belt wing on the Republican Party. Yeah. And basically, they'll shout you down saying your ethics don't match up with the party if they don't like you. And that's kind of how they both work.
Right. I mean, I think we saw Rick Perry too, Greg Abbott during the storm sit there and blame the energy issue solely on the wind turbines freezing, which you sat there and you're hearing this guy say this to your face, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, you're in the pocket of big oil. Okay. Right. And that's the number one problem, especially in Texas. Right. Everyone's in the oil business's pocket. But it's great to hear that you're not. Right. Because that's like the number one thing. It's also great to hear that you're thinking like, an actual human and not adhering to every far reaching tenet of your party's beliefs, which is, what every candidate should be doing, if you ask me. But have you thought about crypto, right? Because I know there's lots of mining going on down in the fields. Can you tell us about that? Do you know anything about that? People using the runoff of the gas? Please enlighten us.
Yeah, so sure, they call it flare gas crypto mining. And the idea is if you're flaring gas because you don't have a way to get it to market through pipelines, that you can take it, hook it up to a generator, and then use that as a power source for crypto mining out on location. And that is being done. There's some issues there. There's some legal gray issues about royalties and things like that. That's boring, that nobody cares about. But yeah, they're doing that with co-location of solar as well. They're doing that a lot in West Texas.
Right, because the runoff is essentially free energy because it's not energy that they were going to harness. It's going nowhere. I'm hearing that these miners are kicking the oil field proprietors, hey, like a penny, pennies on the dollar of what they'd be paying them for the actual energy. And then what are they bringing? Big ass Connex boxes out there? I heard people are making millions of bucks on the fields in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about, I've yet to see somebody that's actually doing with flare gas. I've heard a lot about it. We've been talking about it for years. If you go and look at my LinkedIn from 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking about it. And it just depends on, how sour the gas is, the concentration of H2S, because H2S is really corrosive. And if it's a high level of H2S, it eats through your generator and all your stuff, and you really can't make money. But, and that's also the stuff that nobody wants, because that's why it's not going to market, because it's sour. But I think that we've got lots of opportunities here. And again, if we're intellectually honest and we put the best and the brightest in the room, they'll figure it out. We just got to get the bureaucrats out of the way.
Nice.
So what have people been saying about your ad? Let's get into exactly what's been going on. You put this thing out. It was a media frenzy. Are you paying attention to the comments? Are you reading them? Have you gotten DMs or messages from people who are like, what's she doing on that pump jack? Can't believe she's on that pump jack.
You engage the haters.
Yeah, they're like, where's your H2S monitor? I'm like, well, it has a cast iron bridge plug set at depth, and it shouldn't have any risk of H2S. And the electricity has been disconnected, and I can go all into that. But no, I mean,
to quiz you.
No, 95% of people are very supportive, right? Well, they get it, and they're like, more power to you. So
when did you come up with the art metaphor, the metaphor of being naked and having the naked truth? Was that shortly thereafter you took the photo, or a week after?
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm
when
making
we,
a joke.
no, I was gonna say, well, when we filmed it, it was supposed to be for fun, right? I wasn't thinking of using it in any way. We were filming a documentary, and it was like, maybe this will be fun and goofy in the documentary kind of thing. And then I got the video back, and I was like, wow, I look really good, and this is
Don't
funny.
waste that.
Run it.
Right?
Run it.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna look this good. I mean, like, it's all downhill from here. I'm almost 38, so.
So, digging a little deeper, I found out another little interesting tidbit that you are the co-owner of a medical marijuana dispensary in Mississippi. Is that true?
Yeah. So last year we were at, and then the Mississippi Supreme Court reversed that rule, and now the Mississippi legislature has just reenacted it. Needless to say, I've been a little bit busy and haven't had time to devote to that this year. And so I'm actually probably going to sell all of my interest in that endeavor for now. But I am a firm believer in, medical access to cannabis, psilocybin. You know, I think if God put it here on the planet, there's probably a reason that he did. And there's also a reason that big pharma, big tobacco, big alcohol don't want us to have access to it.
Yeah, we're all sick here. We're everyone. Yeah, we're all sick.
We all have our cards.
Yeah.
I don't even need a card where I live. I just go to the store.
So you're the current results I have here. You're going to be in a runoff. Wayne's, he's got a pretty big lead. He controls most of Texas, it looks like. What's going to be the strategy to take Wayne Christian down moving forward?
Well,
It's
at least
in May, right?
yeah. Can we at least just acknowledge that I did win the county that I live in?
Yeah, that's
like
great.
a couple of so at least that's good, right?
And you forced a runoff, right? So is it just you versus Wayne
Yes.
in May? So it's
Nice.
so that's the big thing, right?
That's
is that
good.
because you didn't get 50% of the vote, you got second place. Now it's just mono E woman in May, right? What's the date of the next
May 24th.
May 24th.
Can
What
we
do
do
you
a
need?
campaign ad for you?
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Where's the pump jack?
Yeah. Get the four of us up there in the pump jack, no shirts.
Ward County.
Out there and work.
Yeah, we could all do it like holding each other's
All
waists.
huddled up on the pump jack, all of us
Yeah.
naked.
Boys for Sarah.
Yeah, you could be like directing us.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're in charge.
But,
That's
yeah,
right.
what's the plan to defeat Wayne? How many votes do you need? I mean, like I'm sure a lot of people vote down ballot, but it's an off cycle election. Like what's the plan? It's doable, right? It's doable.
primary.
To beat
Yeah.
the tick that's dug in that is Wayne Christian.
Yeah, no, I think I don't do anything differently. My only regret is that I didn't release Hump Jack sooner, because I think if I had, I would have had enough recognition. And I think releasing it the day before early voting started, I was way behind, because so many people went and early voted that had no idea who I was when that happened.
Point.
That's a
But
good
I did
point.
that. I
Yeah,
did
what
that
do you have higher,
consciously,
yeah.
right? Because I had spent 3 months really trying to build relationships with Republican women and more traditional people who I thought, okay, I need them to know that I am a woman of substance, that I'm qualified, and that this isn't just some publicity stunt of me trying to get famous. This is, I'm passionate about it, and now that I've got your attention, let's talk about the issues. So I'm hopeful that between now and the end of May, people will continue to be engaged. The only other big statewide runoff I think that's going to happen, sounds like, is the Attorney General's runoff.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful that I will continue to inspire the 350,000 people that work in the oil field in Texas, because I'll tell you, the workers, oil field family is behind me. They are tired of the BS. And so I get them and their friends and family to go show up and vote. Who's going to go and vote for Wayne? I'm hopeful that.
Not me.
We could do the ad where we have the pros of each person, and we could have like your law in the field, you're not accepting contributions, all this stuff, and then for Wayne, the pro is going to be was a gospel singer.
Yeah,
One
pretty short
double
list.
a double ward once.
That's it.
Yeah.
Self-admittedly, though, I mean, he doesn't really talk about much else. So
No.
No, I mean, he ran on a pro-life platform in 2016 because that's what the statewide polling said people cared about, right?
About
so
for
Totally
railroad
cool
commissioner.
for railroad commissioner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Makes
you thought
sense.
about, I don't know, like decking your car out like a train engine, or there's got to be some train stuff we can do to help your campaign. I'm just thinking, I know it's not so railroad involved any longer, but I'm just talking about word associated. People are going to think
Pat's stuck in the past. He thinks Rick Perry's the governor. He wants the railroads in 2005.
Can we build a locomotive?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I bet we could do
steam engine.
Yeah.
Well, it's already the unicorn mobile. My license plate is unicorns. It's an oil and gas unicorns license plate. It's sparkly. I have unicorn stickers. It's also meant that it's been vandalized a couple times and I am a target. And I'll tell you what, I'm thinking about just pulling out the good old white F-150 to putz around in so nobody recognizes me, because it is to the point now where people are threatening me. I am, so.
I'll get out of town with that.
Because of the unicorn thing.
No, just because I'm a threat to the establishment, right? But like I've had death threats. I've had people tell me I need to watch and not put pictures of my child up because they're going to come and find her. Like really messed up things.
Oh man.
You think that's Wayne's goons?
It's got to be.
I think there is a political establishment in the state of Texas that includes the Craddock family that is corrupt and will stop at nothing to remain in power. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like Texas.
Every state has them. Texas, just they're older and richer.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, a crazy other fact about this race is that someone died. One of your opponents died. Marvin Sarge Summers. He was on his way to what is it?
I was just saying Sarge.
Yeah, Sarge. He was on his way to a campaign event. Here he is, and he crashed into a tanker truck. Do you think Wayne had anything to do with that?
I mean, look, it would be a lie if I said it didn't cross my mind. And I'm wondering, like, has anybody looked and checked his brakes? Like, why would he had just left an event. He was headed north home. He was only a couple miles outside of town.
What county?
And in Midland.
Yeah, Midland. Wow. Collided with the tanker truck. Man,
wow.
That's rough.
Wayne Christian's a goon.
Well, hopefully you stay.
You should probably stop talking about Wayne.
It's a dangerous race. Yeah. But I do want to go. We can still do the naked.
I've been to Disney.
We can go get naked on the oil derrick, though, right?
Yeah, we can do that.
We can still do that ad, right?
Only if you wear a Texas flag, like Speedo.
Pasties.
Yeah, got two.
Yeah, maybe just 1 star. Maybe if I just had like the 1 star, they wouldn't have complained. It would have been more authentic. I don't know.
It's Lone Star State.
No, the Capitol building in Austin's claim to fame is they have the most stars in any building in the world. So you can do more than 1 star.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
True. All right.
Well, is there anything else you want to share with us? You got our vote. Can we vote? We can vote, right?
Yeah, we can vote. You and I can vote, Wes.
I can absentee vote. It'll be illegal, but
got our vote.
I gave up down this Texas residency and
corrupt Wayne here.
I would.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, my website's sarah4rrc.com. They can scan that little QR code to get to my social media and follow me. I'm pretty responsive. I will say I'm starting to get a little bit overwhelmed in the amount of contacts and reach out, and I can't respond to everyone. I do my best. But it is just me, right? So I don't have a staff. I don't have people that are really helping me respond. And so people are like, well, why are you qualified? I'm like, well, if you could just go do a little bit of research, there's probably 30 podcasts that I've been on discussing my qualifications, right? If people want to learn more, they can. But
also, here's a tip. Since you're in a runoff with another gentleman who I think the incumbents, just encourage people to research the incumbents in this year's runoffs. Not a lot of great stuff out there.
Sure. He's got the voice of an angel, but the politics of a devil.
Let's say we could do without the current railroad commissioner and attorney general in Texas. Could just get them both out of there. That'd be great.
I agree.
All right.
Although, I mean, like another Bush, like I guess it's like.
Oh, is that who's going against? Yeah, but it's better. It's better than the guy. It's better than Mr. Constantly under investigation.
You know what they say about something about a bush in the hand is better than a whatever.
They do say that. That's Texas saying. Well, guys, do you want to on three? One, two, say fuck Wayne Christian. 1, 2, 3. Fuck Wayne Christian. Almost got you, Sarah.
She didn't say it.
Almost got you, Sarah.
That was a test, Sarah.
Now we're going to say he's a murderer. No, we're going to get sued.
No, now I have a mental image that I didn't need.
Allegedly. Someone's fucking Wayne Christian. He's got
Pat's doing this because he doesn't live in Texas. Wes and I are going to get a knock on the door.
Yeah, I'm a little worried, to be honest.
The credits are coming after you guys.
Papers coming
out. Watch out.
I don't want to get.
Somebody's going to take an excerpt, say we were talking about pegging. Like it's.
I just did a little Googling. It seems the Midland County Medical Examiner, this is not confirmed, may or may not be Wayne Christian's personal doctor. Right?
Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure. This is not confirmed. I can't confirm this, but I'm looking and it's possible.
Roundsburg from South Dakota vibes.
It's possible that he was, I don't know. We'll see. I'll look into that. Again, not saying it's true, but
thank you,
Sarah. Sarah, it was great talking with you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sarah.
Have a good one.